Communication, Clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013. Hi friends, I welcome you all in this exciting training session being conducted by TNV Academy. Today, in this session, we will discuss about Clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013, which talks about the concept of communication. So, let's get going and start our discussion. Let me explain you that what we will be covering in this chapter. Coverage in the standard. In this session, we will discuss the clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013 that states the process of communicating vital information related to information security management system of the organization internally and externally. Reference clause within standards or the other standards which can be useful for this chapter. As far as clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013 is concerned, it does not take reference from any other standard or clause. It has its own small requirement which asks an organization to fulfill while aiming towards the successful implementation of its information security management system. External reference for the chapter. If we talk about the external references that you need to know for understanding the clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013, then you should have an updated version, standard copy of ISO 22300:2018 with you. ISO 22300:2018 has definitions for several technical terminologies that are used under different clauses of ISO 27001:2013. So we advise that you should keep an updated copy of the standard for your ready reference. Outcome of the chapter. At the end of this chapter, you will be able to understand what is communication, how an organization defines the process of communicating information related to information security internally and externally, which information is delivered, when and why, by whom it is delivered. So, let's begin our discussion with a brief introduction of clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013. Brief introduction of clause 7.4. Friends, before we start discussion on the details of clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013, let us first understand the term communication. In simple words, we can describe communication as the process of transferring information from one place, person, or group to another. However, just transferring information from a source to its desired destination cannot be referred as communication. The idea behind communication is to deliver the exact and effective information which is similar to what was being sent by the sender or source. It means that the meaning and context of information should not change during the process of communication. Now, if we talk about the process of communication in relation to ISO 27001:2013, then it means that an organization during the course of its operational ISMS must have to pass several information to various destinations or users. This information is obviously related to organization's information security management system, its policies, procedures, work habitat, etc. The users of this vital information can be internal and external both. Internal users are staff and individuals who are working inside the organization ISMS framework, and external users are obviously the stakeholders, suppliers, contractors, customers, etc. The organization thus decided that how the communication of information will happen to both internal and external users. Now, let's discuss the details of clause 7.4 requirements. Requirement of the clause of the standard. The clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013 states that the organization shall determine the need for internal and external communications relevant to the information security management system, including on what to communicate, when to communicate, with whom to communicate, who shall communicate, and the process by which communication shall be effected. The clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013 has very basic requirements. According to the statements above, the organization should have a plan in place for communicating internally and externally information about the information security management system. This could include the benefits of using an ISMS. A formal process of communication should be agreed and documented. As per this clause, all employees of the organization and where relevant, the interested parties shall receive appropriate communication about the updates on the organization policies and procedures related to information security management system and relevant to their job functions. Interested parties and stakeholders such as senior management, staff, or suppliers who are accessing the organization's valuable information assets needs to engage and aware about the information security management system. The organization can satisfy the above mentioned requirements as defined below. What needs to be communicated? Messages should be clear in their form and content to produce the expected behavior. The type of communication medium is looked at here. You can use short stories, images, metaphors, or cartoons. Messages should be short and focused on their real intent when it needs to be communicated. Communication should be both continuous and event-based. In reaction to events, you should make sure the communicated message is continuously retransmitted. For example, to newcomers and at repeated intervals to make sure it won't get forgotten. You should also be able to modify the messages or introduce new messages or formats and channels when the situation requires it. Communicating in normal conditions might be seriously different in comparison to during incidents or in crisis, to whom it needs to be communicated. Not everybody should receive all messages. Messages should be aimed at a specific audience, depending on the classification of the information, the necessary technical knowledge, and the role in the organization. The communication plan should be effective and addressed only to those who will benefit from it or need to act based on it. For example, different interested parties like users, partners, internal and external service providers, regulating bodies, shareholders, etc. Who should communicate? Organization should clarify who is authorized to communicate, especially with the external parties. Internally, top management and the CISO and the help desk are good examples. Internally, top management and the CISO and the help desk are good examples. Big companies have their public relation officer to communicate with the external parties. The communicator should have the appropriate authority to make sure message will be received with the necessary attention and will be followed by expected action or reaction. How the information will be communicated? The simplest and first way is the security policy and all the documents that describe what to do and how to meet the objectives of the policy. Messages should be prepared and approved, particularly in the case of incidents and crises. Defined channels and protocols should be utilized to make sure the communication reaches the intended audience at the best moment and with the best possible effectiveness. Its examples would be emails, pop-up screens, screensavers, posters, audio messages, meetings, policies and directives, etc. Friends, we have now come to the conclusion of this segment. Let us now move forward to the other segment of this session, which is mandatory documents and retention of documents. As per clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013, the organization should make a communication plan depending on the size of the organization and its security objectives. It should be fully documented as a separate document, or it can be simply stated in few sentences with other policies, procedures and plans. Our next segment is practice writing non-conformity under this clause 7.4. Now, let us understand how to write a non-conformity for clause 7.4. It can be understood through an example of sample NC given in AFAR, Audit Findings Action Report 19. Last but not least, now let us understand the common mistakes which auditors do while performing audit under the clause 7.4 of ISO 27001:2013. Auditors ask irrelevant questions for the organization which does not relate with the organization to be audited. Second mistake, sometimes auditors start thinking for the option while auditor need to understand the client process and to decide if the client can achieve the result of the MSS through their own process. Third mistake, auditors start consulting activities. Fourth mistake, auditors start expecting documents and records in clause where this may not be mandatory requirement. Fifth mistake, auditors asking for FSSAI license and registration, asking for the GST registration, asking for the ROC registration, asking for the commencement of business certificate, asking of PF ESI registration certificate, which may not be relevant considering the nature of business organization is performing. Dear friends, we have now come to the conclusion of this training session. See you soon with an exciting new topic. Till then, goodbye.